I wanted to do something a little different this morning, and I forgot to mention to Sean. He's going to tell you about a story that we did not get a chance to play on the air Friday, but we'll show you the video on Monday. Are you able to tell us about that?
Yeah, I could try. I mean, it's a little difficult without like the imagery of what, but I could try. I'm sure some people have heard of.
This is one time you could use your brains. You can think, because we don't have the video here. Okay.
So I'm sure some people have heard of Plato.
And speak up loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm sure some people have heard of Plato.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Philosopher way back in the day. And he wrote a book called Republic, and in that book, he has this short story about a cave. It's called The Cave, or the Allegory of the Cave. And so basically, if you can picture a couple people in a line in a cave facing the end of the cave, like a big wall at the end of the cave. There's a long entrance, but they're facing inside the cave, right?
Facing the wall like this.
Just like that, yeah. And so the entrance to the cave, or the exit to outside, is behind you. And so if there was a big fire behind Jesse shining that way, he would only see his shadow on the wall in front of him. And if other people were to put, you know, caricatures, images between him and the fire, he would just see the shadow of figures, you know, trees, animals, other people on the wall. And he would, if he lived his whole life in that position, he would think that those images are real, like the shadows on the wall. He would think, oh, that's all I know. Those must be real, those trees, those animals. And so the idea is that if one person
don't they have you chained down
right,
too? They have me chained down.
Chained
all
to
of
the
us.
floor, your
all
neck chained so that you can't move your head. And so if one person were to become unchained, if they were to become free, they would stand up. They would see that their whole life they've been looking at these shadows on the wall. They would, you know, get up, turn around. They would exit the cave. They would see the outside world. They would see all those images for what they are, which is just illusions. And then eventually they would go up all the way to the entrance. They would see the outside world. They'd see the trees, the pond, the sun. And it might be shocking at first. You know, their eyes aren't adjusted to the light. So, but once they get used to seeing that, the real world for what it is, going back into the cave would be quite the experience, because the people who are still chained there would look at them like they're crazy. He would be saying to them, look, like you're still just seeing shadows on the wall, and they'd say, no, what I'm seeing is real. Like they'd still be convinced that what they're seeing is reality. And then eventually they'd get so angry at that person that they'd try to put him to death, basically, you know, for speaking the truth.
Right.
He'd try to shake him awake, like, no, like seriously, what you're seeing on the wall isn't reality. I just went there, I just saw it. What you're seeing isn't true. And they'd get angry at him. That's the basic story of it. There's a little more to it, but that's pretty much it.
It is every human being on this side of heaven. Every human being is locked in a cage and don't know it. And all they see are shadows, and they think that those shadows are real. And then if you tell them that they're not real, you become the enemy. That's why they killed Christ, because he told them they were living in prison. They were seeing shadows, they were not seeing reality. And every human being is like that. Some are starting to wake up to it and overcome, but most are not. And then those who are waking up, they're being hated by their family members, they're being hated by their spouses, they're being hated by their friends, everybody, because they can't see that one person that woke up, they don't believe you. They think you're the enemy. They think because you don't see like they see things anymore, they say something's wrong with you and not them. Every human being that lives in their imagination, that's what you're doing. You have believed that the thought you're having are truly yours. And the last thing you want to overcome is this illusion that you've been living. No one can take it away from you. If God came down and brought Jesus and all his disciples with him, and they were witnesses that you were living in a cage, you wouldn't believe it. You won't believe it. You believe thoughts and emotions. That's all you believe. Even though it's pure hell in there, the shadows are lying to you. There's no real happiness in them at all. You still live for them. I know this. Well, I mean, I say that. But anyway. But I know some people who moved away from California and they went to a red state and they thought that they were going to be happy in the red state. They still have fear. They're worse off now than they were before they left California. The state is nice, they say, but they still have the same arguments, the same fears, the same doubts. It's like they still live in California. So I asked them, what did you think was going to change when you left? Because wherever you go, you're there. Where you could go to heaven, and if you're still living here, you're still in hell. The environment is not about the environment. It's what's in you. It's what's in your mind. It's what you believe. Isn't that crazy? And most people love being locked up. They really, really do. Because you tell them, why don't you do the silent prayer so you can watch and come out of it? Oh, I had to go to work. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I did this, right? You give them the key to overcoming. Why don't you go and forgive? Oh, I might hurt her feelings. I don't want to hurt her feelings. An inmate don't want to hurt another inmate's feeling. You could be free, but you don't want to. You really, really can. And what I would advise that out there and here you start doing is cutting back on so much activity. You got too many activities going on. And when you start to wake up, you're not going to believe how unnecessary those activities were. All you're doing is running from you. And then all you're doing is piling up activity so that you don't experience the pain of being locked away. You don't need all those activities. You really, really don't. But the ego, the mind tell you that you do need it. Isn't that amazing? You really don't need it. You'll be surprised what you can do without. And you'll save money, you'll save time, you'll save argument. You'll be more aware of what you're doing. You'll get more done and have time wasted, which won't be wasted because you'll be living in time, not outside of it. Just think about the stuff y'all do in the daytime. You could have been at home suffering and dying from the ego. But the devil make up excuses for you, and you think it's you. Isn't that amazing? But we're going to show that video tomorrow, and this guy, they unchanged one guy that wanted to break away, and it was difficult for him to go all the way to the top, but he did go a little outside the wall, and that felt nice. Then he went to another wall, that felt nice, and he finally went outside and saw the light. He could not believe it. He could not believe it. And that's what's going to happen with you when you truly see the light. It's going to be interesting living a life without thinking. And then you'll notice that life is still working. Like, what the? And it's working better than what you could even imagine when you stop thinking. You can live a no-thought life. There's a voiceless voice. There is a light that will guide you. Amazing, huh? Anyway, I saw your hand. Yes, sir.
I love that the analogy. It's so deep. Another deep
Wait
thing.
until we show the video. You see the image of it is really amazing. Yeah.
Another deep thing about it is the people that were turned away from the light actually created the shadow. So when you're turned away from the light, it creates the shadow. So that's another interesting point. So God designs these mysteries in creation in order to show us the way.
What do you mean by that?
So, for instance, if you're turned away from light, you cast a shadow like your shadow is right there. So turning away from the light, which is turning away from the Father, means a shadow is created.
Absolutely. It's so unfortunate, too. It really, really is. Because we are all free and don't know it. You just think about that. You really are free. You're not guilty of anything. You're not neither wrong nor right. You're not none of the things that you think you are. You're not even a Christian. The idea of being a Christian is just an idea, and then you try to live up to what you think Christianity is, and based on what everybody said. That doesn't work. There's no one that's trying to live a Christian life living it. They're not living it. And when you slow down and allow this thing to die, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Something else is driving you. And God knows that. That's why He doesn't give us pain. He doesn't cause us to be guilty. He doesn't blame us for anything. He already know. Oh, that reminds me. He already know that we're free. I was watching this movie called what is it called? What's that? The Chosen. And I really liked the movie. Now, you may not like it, so don't let the mind go crazy with you, right? But I like the movie because it shows human beings in a fallen state. You know how fake and phony and nice everybody pretend to be and mean and whatever, right? It shows that, but it also shows when Jesus go around and waking up people, you can see the difference. And you're going to see it in yourself too. It's really, really a very interesting and good. I don't know who put that together. I don't know if they intend, or maybe I just see it differently. I don't know. But whoever put that together, they have a little sense, for sure. Because they definitely show human nature, the fallen nature, in a way that you see every day about your everyday life. And then they show Christ, waking people up, and then the real person start to live. The old person die, and the real person come alive, still on the earth, still living their life. And then the ideas that we have about Christ is so far off, it's not even funny. And that's why you can't imagine Christ as being like you, because you have this glorified idea about Christ. You can't even imagine Christ going to a party and having fun at the party. He had fun at the party. He really did. I never thought of Christ having fun at a party. But he had fun just like you can do at the party and still live in a higher state of life. Really, but you can have fun. It's not going to be boring. Some people say, I don't want to be a Christian because it's too boring. That's because you're not a true Christian. It's just an idea. But Christ went to a party, especially a wedding. He had a lot of fun at a wedding. He really did. And I think he had some wine.
Made the wine.
And he was not concerned about the people judging him for drinking the wine. Isn't that amazing? Because you know how normally you drink wine around the Christians, they be wanting something really bad. You at the party, they want everybody drinking wine, having fun. And the Christian wants the wine. But they're like, nah, I'm a Christian. They try to make you think that they're a Christian, so they won't drink the wine. So if you're drinking, they'll judge you. Oh, I thought you were a Christian. You're drinking wine. Christ, he didn't care about that. He didn't care. And the reason he didn't care, because he was one. He was whole. He was not divided. And when you are a whole person, your last concern is about the devil. You give the devil no play. The devil inside of others. When you are a whole person, it's only when you are divided that you worry and concerned about what others say or think or do or act, what they have or don't have. It's when you're a divided person. You're jealousy, you want strife, you try to hurt others. Because you're divided. A whole person would never do that because nothing is missing. You have a clear mind and you're just living your life without even trying to live your life. It works by itself. It really does. Life can happen by itself. As a matter of fact, you're crazy for trying to make life happen. Now, I don't mean like physical things. You want to go out and get a job, practical things, right? But don't even worry about that. Just go look for the job and take the job. And that's a tool you live by. But life happens on its own. I wish you could wake up. I really do. Because it's nothing like what you imagine. You can't, your thoughts, your mind cannot understand his ways at all. I have been reading that all my life in the Bible, that our thoughts are not God's thoughts. His ways are not our ways. Our mind cannot comprehend. I clearly know what that means now. Your thoughts 150 degrees away from God's. Everything you think is a lie. It really is.